So I call to order tonight's meeting of the Southborough Youth Commission on October 14th, 2025 at 7:03 p.m. And our first order of business is to review and approve the meeting minutes from the September 11th, 2025 meeting.
Move to approve.
I second. Shall we take a roll call vote?
Sure.
Karen Englam?
Aye.
Sarah Mikas?
Aye.
Susan Byer?
Aye.
Lauren Ritchie?
Aye.
And Nancy Sutton? Aye.
Who made the motion in the beginning? I just want to get it in the notes.
Oh,
Okay,
Lauren.
Lauren. All right.
All right. Then I guess Sarah, you can take over with the director's report.
Great. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, so it's a busy time of year. September generally is because of all of the reconnection meetings we schedule with schools and doing lots of outreach and advertising for programs. So just really quickly looking at some of the highlights. We had our annual retreat for Encompass, which was great. It's a nice opportunity for folks who are involved in the coalition to come together, and an invitation for anyone who might be interested in learning more about what we've been up to or what our plans are for the coming year. So we had a great conversation, and Trendline, who's the consulting firm that we're working with for the community needs assessment, was involved in a parent survey. So we are sharing out Encompass's most recent newsletter, which has a link or a QR code to their presentation. Some really interesting information about differences between parent perception of risk and youth perception of risk, as well as major differences between what parents perceive as the level of use among youth versus the actual level of use among youth. So I really encourage people to check that out, because really better understanding those perceptions is helpful for us in knowing areas for us to work on in the coming year. As I said, we've been reconnecting with the schools. So far we've met with Woodward and Neary. And we have been invited to Algonquin and Trotter and Finn in the coming weeks. So we will reconnect with them just to remind them of what our services are for the coming year, give them any updates on who we have for staffing, what our capacity is to support them and students. We've kicked off the Winter Wishes program. We've had a lot of great conversation with Friends of the Southborough Youth Commission around that, and our plan is to do the same thing we did last year, which is to collect monetary donations, or Friends is collecting monetary donations from members of the community that will be used to purchase gift cards for families. And I will gladly take the opportunity to reiterate that our reason for making that shift is because we have discovered that doing that kind of a model versus donors buying actual gifts really enables parents who are participating in the program to purchase gifts for their own children, which is something they really appreciate and really helps to involve them in the program versus them sort of being passive participants and sort of being cut out by the experience. So parents have given us that feedback that they really love that. And then of course we still give the option for families that if they're stretched particularly thin, you know, perhaps we have a single parent household with several kids, that if they could use the help for shopping for items, that we can certainly explore that possibility for them. Let's see, we've been doing outreach at various open houses, at the food pantry. Janet and I recently attended fuel assistance training as the fuel assistance season has kicked off at the beginning of October. Thank you to Karen for doing outreach at the Fall Fin Festival. I hope I'm getting all of that correct. It's a lot of F's. We've been offering a lot of prevention programs. They haven't been super well attended, but we are offering them nonetheless. And I have no problem with continuing to offer them, even if, you know, there aren't any takers at the moment. I think, unfortunately, prevention work is the sort of thing that gets put on the back shelf until an issue arises, and people need the support. But for example, we've been offering QPR, understanding depression, the validation info session. We did, this past Thursday was National Depression Screening Awareness Day. And one of our interns did the Understanding Depression info session for residents at Colonial Gardens, which was great. They were very engaged in the conversation and actually highlighted the need for it. So we were happy to be able to do that. And I know Delaney, our intern, was happy to get her first info session presentation off of her plate because it was a little nerve-wracking, but she did great. Shelf help is something we've also been offering with not a lot of takers, but again, we're not deterred. We just know that prevention programs are just something that's hard to compete with everybody's busy schedules, and we'll still be here should the need arise, and we'll continue.
Sarah, in terms of the prevention programs and going to your Encompass retreat, do you ever talk about, share information about, you know, maybe how to get more people to attend? Or is this just, as you said, people don't know they need it until they need it?
It's an ongoing challenge across
Yeah.
the board, not just in our department, but in most departments, and not just in Southborough, but in neighboring communities as well. You know, I totally get it. If I have the option between going home and engaging in some self-care practice versus going to a presentation on depression, I understand why people would choose the first choice. But you know, sadly, what we've seen through other communities is that when there's a loss to suicide, for example, the community comes out in droves to get information about prevention. And so, you know, of course, we would love to see people engage in that training beforehand, because it's all about prevention. But you know, it's just the nature of our lives collectively right now. So you know,
Yeah,
that's why
I
I
think-
kind of say this is ongoing. I know you guys remember Shannon talking about this also.
Yeah.
And
No.
I've just kind of made a conscious decision not to be deterred by it, and not, you know, to
Good
just.
for you, because I think it's an ounce of prevention, as they say, but
That's right. That's right.
but people really don't know they need things until they need
Yeah.
them. I was thinking, is there any groups that are, you know, like middle school groups dealing with anxiety that you could present some kind of program on, you know, coping mechanisms? I'm sure you do this stuff, but
Do, yeah. I think it's a matter of, you know, we're trying to be as diverse as possible in how we get information to people.
yeah,
So just because some of these things are not well attended doesn't mean that there's other things that aren't going on that are being successful. So we do have several groups that we're offering elsewhere. In fact, we're working with the senior center to offer a grief support group.
Oh, that's great.
This November. So we're just throwing all sorts of things at the wall to see what sticks. And I would say one of our most successful efforts right now has really been with Colonial Gardens.
Yeah.
We've been going on a weekly basis to do outreach over there, and have I had to laugh to myself because recently Delaney and I, one of our interns and I, who we go every week, before we even got out of our cars, we had residents tapping on our window to talk to both of us
That's great.
about, different things respectively.
Well, I think there's a lot of unmet need there, and also with our senior population.
Yeah.
And I give you a lot of kudos for branching out and reaching out to both those groups.
Yeah. I'm hopeful actually. We did have some movement. I think I had mentioned to you guys that we were looking into creating an office space on site at Colonial Gardens. And as it turned out, there was funding available to start that work. It's not finished, but
Yeah, that's great.
yeah, so we have Colonial Gardens was actually able to make an investment in the space and put in new flooring and paint. And we just need to work on furniture to be able to use it. And hopefully eventually, not just our department, but the health department and the senior center and other departments will have the opportunity to go over and meet with residents who have difficulty getting off campus, so to speak.
Yeah.
Lauren, you had a virtual hand raised.
Oh,
You're muted.
that was to say that Melissa was in the audience.
Hi, Melissa. Oh, you're muted too.
Oh, sorry.
No, Melissa, you're muted. Melissa, can you hear us? Oh, she's talking.
Sorry about that.
That's
Oh.
okay. There you are.
Yes, sorry. I could hear you, but I don't think that I was in the group, so.
Yeah, it's because,
apologies.
sorry, Melissa, I didn't see you and I didn't promote you to panelist.
Okay, sorry about that. Here I am.
No, yeah,
There you
no
are.
worries.
There you
Welcome.
I could hear you the whole time, but I don't think that you knew I was here, so.
Yeah, that
here
was the problem. I wasn't looking down to see if you had joined yet.
Okay, yeah, I've been here the whole time. Okay, sorry for the interruption. I am here. All right,
No
continue.
worries. No
Yeah.
worries. Let's see. I've reconnected with our police chief just to see if we could, he has assigned a liaison to our department over the years several times. And with some changeover in staffing, it was a good opportunity for us to meet, and we were assigned a new liaison. So I'm hopeful that I'll have an opportunity to meet with him soon. I did talk with him also about some possible partnerships coming up. There was an effort last year to sort of form a safe housing coalition that was a sort of partnership between public safety, the health department, our department, and some other departments, the senior center, so that we could sort of proactively create a game plan for supporting some of our more complex housing situations in town. And so I'm hopeful that we can perhaps what's the word I want to use? Re-engage in that with that group. So we'll see. We're offering an executive functioning support group at the middle school. I have to say thank you to Karen again for hosting the very first ever private party info session. This is again a prevention program, but Sarah, to your point earlier that we're trying to diversify how we get information to people. We know that sometimes if it's a social opportunity or in the comfort of a group that is, of folks who know each other, can make a difference. And so, and I was able to debut an info session that I hadn't done before. So I know Nancy and Lauren were also there. So thanks to you guys for hosting me that night. Let's see, we have more outreach coming up. We have another group at NERI called the Game Lab, which is a friendship focused group. So games, cooperative games used to facilitate friendship skill building. Heritage Day ended up being canceled for those of you who may not have known. So that's unfortunate because it's usually a wonderful event and a great opportunity for outreach, but no one would have been there yesterday. So
No.
Yeah, it was
a
pretty
smart
wet.
decision. Yeah, so and we're, trying to, I have 2 flyers on the director's report. One is for the community needs assessment presentation that's coming up on November 4th. I am still trying to engage our select board in conversation about the potential to co-host a meeting or have a joint meeting with the select board for that presentation, as I know there's interest on their board to be part of that. So as it stands, it's at the public safety building, same time as usual, but if they want to host a joint meeting for that presentation, we would move over to the hearing room at Town Hall. So I'll keep everybody posted. I hope to have a final decision on that in the next couple of days.
But just know it starts at 6:30, not our usual 7.
What's that?
It starts at 6:30, not our usual 7, just
Right,
in case anybody
right.
here.
Yes, because
Oh,
it's
it's
a
the
blank
select
here.
board meeting is
No,
joined.
the presentation is 6:30 to 8.
Okay.
So yeah, trend line is coming from out of town, so we had to book them for a specific time frame. So that's it. Coming up, I'm offering another info session on understanding ADHD at the library. We have trunk or treat coming up this year. Actually, I shouldn't say it since it's a public meeting, but the theme is very exciting. I unfortunately have to miss trunk or treat this year, but the staff are excited to do this Frozen theme this year. So one of our interns just happens to have beautiful blonde curly hair, so she's going to be Elsa, and Megan, who has beautiful reddish hair, is going to be Anna, and everybody's very excitedly preparing for that and figuring out how to give almost 600 children candy and do outreach with all of these families. So always a good time. And I really think that's it. Just kind of more. I did mention the grief support group that we're doing in partnership with the senior center. We had to host that at the Southborough Library, so we're thankful for them for offering us a space to use, because so many things going on at the senior center that it was hard to find a time that would work for our staff and has space over there. So I said a lot. I don't know if there's any questions about anything that I shared.
Do we know whether or not we're going to have a quorum for the special town meeting on the 27th?
That is a conversation for Janet. I think she has been asking everybody. I think as it stands, we do not have a quorum as of now. And that some folks have said that they'd be able to come. So I believe that she will follow up with people if she hasn't heard from everyone.
I have one other thing. It's not really a question, but my daughter's in a club at the high school. It's kind of like about girls supporting other girls. And I think they might be interested in doing like a program or a workshop or something with you.
Oh, that's
Sure.
great.
Do I put the president of the club in touch with you or Emily?
I think that person could be in touch with both of us. Because
Okay,
I think it depends on what they're thinking. And that will kind of determine. Half the time, all of us have our hand in everything somehow,
okay.
anyway. So there's no
I'll just give them
rush
both of your
to that.
email. All
Yeah,
right.
that would be great. That
Okay.
sounds like a great opportunity.
I have a question as well about the survey and stuff. Someone had dropped off the surveys and stuff, and so I had tried to, get some people to take surveys and stuff. I put it in the bulletin, and I hung up the posters and stuff like that. And so because of that, I ended up having a couple conversations with parishioners about youth and family services.
Yep.
And so I received like some different feedback from different individuals. And
Mhm.
so I was wondering like how would I go about like sharing that feedback, because I received some feedback that was very positive, but I also
Mhm.
received some feedback that was negative, and it was kind of
Mhm.
concerning to me. And
Sure.
so I was wondering like how do we go about sharing feedback from the community?
Yeah, we actually have, we didn't want to confuse people with multiple surveys, but part of our most recent effort with Trendline was to develop a community feedback survey. But it, and I believe there's some open-ended sections for people to write whatever they want. I'm happy to share that with you. Or for now, you and I could have a conversation, because I appreciate hearing all kinds of feedback. It's important for our growth and ensuring that we're, doing what we can to give people access to services. So perhaps in this case, it would make sense for you and I to talk offline, but we were waiting to close out the community needs assessment survey before we really, and actually, I think Emily and I were just meeting about it today, because we want sort of to be able to compare one year to the next. I think we're going to wait until January to start using our new feedback survey that we developed, because otherwise the 2025 data would have like a month and a half available data, which isn't super helpful. So does that sound like an okay plan, Melissa?
Yeah, I just wasn't sure like how that type of like feedback would be addressed, because it was something that like I said, I had received like a variety of feedback,
Mhm.
and I felt like it was good just for for like the department to hear like both the positive and the negative. I thought it was important
Absolutely.
to hear it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And I, just to say this in the context of this meeting, I welcome residents to call us anytime. We're in the business of hearing feedback, and regularly engage in our own self-evaluation and evaluation of our services in the department. So something we're very comfortable with, and really very receptive to, or we try to be. Um, so I'm happy to follow up with you on that. And even this conversation about how people can provide feedback is helpful feedback for us. It sort of reinforces the idea that we need this survey for people to be able to do that. So,
Sounds good. Thank you.
great. Yeah,
Maybe put it as the next newsletter. You could talk about in the newsletter how people can provide
sure.
feedback.
Yeah. I might actually, sorry, in thinking about that, Karen, I might wait until our January newsletter.
Yeah. Start of the new year. Just think about it. Yeah.
And actually, sorry, one other thought, Melissa, I think it's great that, you know, this is a helpful thing that you guys as youth commission members, you know, not only do you have the opportunity to be ambassadors of the department, but also as community members to, you know, hear feedback from residents about how the department is doing, and sort of relaying that back to us is really helpful. So don't be shy about saying, have you had a terrible experience with them and why? Hopefully that's not the case too much, but again, if it is, we want to know. So
Yeah, that's what I just felt like, you know, it was important to, you know, to just share, you know, because I thought that, yeah, you know, that you all would want to know, and also, you know, to prevent, you know, like a negative experience from happening to another family as well, you know, like that type of a situation, you know, just to like, I don't know, improve practice or, you know, whatever it may be. And then
Sure.
also to hear, you know, the good news as well, like, you know, to hear the positive, you know, feedback as well. It's, you know, because I wasn't really expecting that, you know, to be honest with you. Um, but you know, that's how it is, you know, people like to talk, right, and have conversations and things like that. And so, you know, naturally sometimes whenever, you know, you're talking about taking a survey, or you're talking about, oh, you know, volunteering for, you know, the youth commission or whatever, you know, something comes up, you know, then people have an opinion about it, you know. And so that's, those conversations just come up naturally, you know.
Yep. Yep. I don't have anything else, Nancy, I don't think, unless there's any other questions.
Sarah, I know we haven't really asked you over the past couple times we've gotten together, but is there anything you need from us? Any concerns on the horizon, budgetary things, staffing, programs, in service?
No, well, I shouldn't say no. I'll answer that by saying, we have the special town meeting happening on October 27th. As I think you guys know, the conversations we had previously about personnel matters and salary adjustments are on the warrant for that town meeting. So thank you for your support around that up to this point. And I think, you know, what will come after that is an additional salary study, sort of, I think, as scheduled or maybe even earlier. I think there's been some conversation from the select board about the possibility of still doing a salary study slightly earlier than we would normally, to really take a look at just salary ranges in general for town employees. And I think there's been some concern around you know, retaining quality staff and turnover. So I think that, you know, the town is really taking a close look at that. So not really coming from us, just kind of related to that. Following this community needs assessment, my original plan was to engage in a strategic planning process for the department. However, I know you guys are aware that there was sort of bigger picture conversation happening last year about human services in general. And so, you know, having talked with our select board and town administration about, you know, data and bigger picture opportunities, it may make sense to engage in sort of an organizational assessment for the town to say, okay, here's data that we've collected about, you know, what the needs of the community are. What, given our current infrastructure, that we have in place, what's our capacity to respond to those needs? And is there any room for improvement? Are there any gaps? That sort of thing. And that feels to me like a good next step if we can find a way to do that. That would require probably an outside consultant to come in to do that assessment of the town's infrastructure and departments. But I do think that to do a strategic planning process just for our department feels a little bit cart before the horse.
Yeah.
In
Yeah, I
thinking
think
about
that makes
it
sense.
yeah. So I'm just having
Who would take the
preliminary.
lead in like an organizational infrastructure assessment project? Would that be one department, a bunch of different departments, town planner?
I just learned of a town committee that I have to look into a little bit further, but a town committee that was identified or tasked with sort of assessing this very thing. Again, I don't know that the committee of residents themselves would be doing the work, but rather sort of determining how to move forward with it.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of just a thought that I've had that I've shared. I've looked into a few different agencies that offer that kind of service to municipalities, but it's kind of a niche service, and so I don't even know what to search when I'm looking for comparables. So
Yeah, that's where I was wondering if there's
Yeah.
somebody that has some kind of background in
Yeah.
creating.
there are a few agencies that I've
Yeah.
already reached out to. But again, we wouldn't be taking the lead on it. I'm just trying to help, share
Yeah.
ideas and resources.
Yeah, no, thank you. That makes
So,
sense.
I think that's helpful for you guys to know that, we might kind of push pause on the strategic planning process, because if we're thinking about a name change for the department, for example, it would make more sense to me to find out what's happening bigger picture before making a decision like that, only to then, make another change after the fact. So we'll see what happens, but it could be, a costly undertaking. So,
Yeah.
we'll have to see.
All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Does anyone else have a question or comment about outreach or the director's report? Karen, would you like to do the Friends update?
Sure. We did have one meeting last week, but instead of our typical Friends meeting, Sarah presented and we spoke about mindfulness, and I got a lot of positive feedback, and I'm glad she was able to guinea pig the presentation on us, and she did fabulous. So we didn't really talk about a lot of other traditional Friends agenda items that evening. We have Amy and myself have been talking to Sarah about winter wishes, and like Sarah mentioned, it's going to be the same going forward. So we're going to probably really need to start pushing, the flyers and getting people to make those monetary donations via Venmo or check. So I just actually emailed Janet and I asked her, because the flyers are on Facebook I saw on the Youth and Family Services Facebook page. But once Janet sends me the flyers, if we can all share them, and we could decide the best places to put them to be visible. And then I guess, Sarah, we'll want to have a meeting after Janet and you guys finalize. And I saw the deadline was the 25th or something to apply, and then we can get the money, and then we can decide. Okay. And then we'll want to talk to Kathy about the fundraising needs we have. So not too much more of an update besides the winter wishes starting. That's it.
Thanks, Karen. Does anyone else have anything they want to talk about or ask a question before we move to adjourn?
Do we need to talk about outreach opportunities?
Outreach.
We missed outreach opportunities.
So yeah, we thought
Yeah.
about like the bib pickup for Heritage, excuse me, the Gobble Wobble is a really big town event. So that's a good time for outreach. And then maybe the trunk or treat.
When is the Gobble Wobble bib pickup?
It's usually the night before. So Thanksgiving is the
Oh,
race.
so
So
it's
it's Wednesday, most of the day. It's like a pretty long, I think there's like or at least 4 to 8, 7 or 8. I don't know. It's pretty long.
okay.
No, we've done a variety of things in years past because it can be a bit of a long stretch. There's been a few years that we've just had information out on a table because I think, not having been to the bib pickup myself, but I think participants come through and they're picking up things along the way before they head out the door. So it's kind of just add this to your collection as you head out versus somebody. Although, you know, it is nice to have somebody who can engage people in conversation should they, you know, have a question. But I don't know that it's been a venue where there's a lot of like people milling around and staying for very long. I think my impression has been, I don't know if anybody has firsthand experience or knowledge of that, but
I
Yeah, you
only
walk
did
in
it
and then
once.
you walk in, you'll get your t-shirt, and I mean people are hanging out and talking some, and you'll get your t-shirt and you get your bib number, and then there's usually a table of
Like
pie,
swag, right?
little pies, and like
Oh,
um some years, I don't know if they're doing it this year, some years they ask people to donate old running shoes. It's a program to recycle running like sneakers and stuff like that. So that bin is there so we can get the word out for that. I agree that's not a lot of opportunity for outreach, but if we just have a table, no one's going to take anything. So at least if someone's there and you're like just sitting waving and there's the banner, you know, just a friendly face. Like, I mean, even at FinFall Festival, I didn't get that many. So I just started going down into like milling about with people and talking to them because no one really came up to my table. But at least if there's a banner, they see Youth and Family Services and someone's standing there. It doesn't have to be the entire time. And we probably don't need more than one person in shorter shifts because it does get tiring just sitting there the whole day. Like if not many people are coming to talk to you, but if we can do even hour shifts, you know, I'm happy to do an hour. Excuse me, if people are in town that Wednesday. If Janet wants to send a sign up or something, I'd be willing to do an hour or two. So
great.
Whenever I was involved, I remember that people would come like more towards the end of the day. Like usually during the day, a lot of people didn't come, but I remember like later in the day would be whenever most people usually did show up. But I mean, that was many, many years ago. I was involved, you know, in the beginning, like the first, you know, 10 years maybe.
I agree. There might be a lunchtime opportunity, but then people really swarm between like 5 and 7 p.m. after work.
Yeah.
Or something. But the afternoon is definitely busier. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll ask Janet to first talk with Recreation about us crashing their bib pickup. I'm sure they'll be happy to have us. And then depending on how that conversation goes and what the timeframes are, I'll ask her to work on a sign-up sheet. And it, you know, again, it could be the kind of thing that if you happen to have an hour free and you're available, feel free to sign up. And it's entirely possible too that Emily's extremely enthusiastic about doing outreach, and so she might say, "I'll do the whole thing," and she loves it. So so I'll keep you guys posted on that.
They also 1 year, I know for the tricentennial last year, I did it because we were trying to sell the bricks. They did it. We were facing before people walked into the gym. So they literally had to walk right by us, you know? So instead of once you get into the gym, then it's like the t-shirts and the bibs and everything like that. But having it, because people also, after they go pick up their bib, they kind of mill about and talk in the lobby of the trotty or outside the gym. There's like the lobby area. So there's sometimes more chances.
Maybe we could get some giveaway like sweatbands that to say something.
Wristbands.
Or what?
The wristbands are
Yeah.
always good.
Don't sweat it. Don't sweat the small
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I like
Wow,
that.
Karen, that's good.
I know.
All right,
would be fun.
stay tuned for that. I'll have a conversation with Janet and Emily, and we'll get back to you guys.
So that's bid pickup. What do you think? Do you think trunk or treat we can, or
We are all covered for trunk or treat, I believe.
oh, okay, great.
Yep. So there's always a lot of enthusiasm around that. In fact, we have so much fun with trunk or treat that I'm actually sad that I'm missing it because my darn cousin's getting married.
Oh.
She didn't run the date
Nerve.
by you. I know.
But we are headed into a season that is more difficult for us to do outreach. And so this is a standing item to ask you all if you're aware of any other outreach opportunities. You know, it's especially good timing. I'm happy to have conversations with folks about winter wishes. Again, I think sort of sharing an explanation as to why we've made the shift to friends collecting monetary donations instead of actual items. I think that goes a long way, and I really do deeply understand and appreciate why that becomes harder for donors to the program. They feel less connected to the process. But I think, you know, having that opportunity to explain the experience that parents have when they get to shop for their kids, it goes a long way. So if anybody's aware,
Gretchen from the preschool just reached out to me yesterday actually and said, are you going to be a contact? And I said, oh, sure, you can reach out to me and everything.
Yep.
So she was asking if it was going to be a similar process as monetary. And I explained, and she hearted my message and totally understood that it's just going to be the same as last year with the monetary. So I think last year, the videos and getting the word out, and now just keeping it the same, I think people will definitely embrace it more this year.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
But if there's any other groups that you think are, you know, potential donors that I am happy to go talk to, or friends can, I'm signing friends up without talking to them. But I'm sure we could get somebody to go over and talk if there's any other donor groups, or, you know, share outreach generally about, we are getting into another part of the year that becomes increasingly difficult for people. We're having a lot of referrals for mental health support and emergency fund requests. We had 3 today. People are just starting to feel the temperature change and the darkness. And so it's can be a more difficult time of year for people for a variety of reasons. So outreach generally is also a welcomed opportunity because more people are struggling this time of year. Well, don't ever be shy. If you think of something, you're welcome to also email me or Janet to say, here's an idea.
Well, the musical is coming up again at the high school. And not a lot of people wanted to talk to me, but I'm going to be there anyway, so I could still ask if I could put out a table with some flyers on it.
Sure.
There are a lot of people just kind of meandering around the hallway at intermission, and, you know, people are selling snacks and stuff. So,
yeah. You know, I wonder if there's a program, right, that's given out. Does anybody
yes,
do they
like
allow
put an
people
insert in it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that might be something to think about. And you know, we have a great working relationship with Northborough Health and Human Services, who's our counterpart in Northborough. You know,
Yeah.
if there's anything small that we could put together that you know, could be included.
I could definitely ask if we
Yeah,
could put
that might
something in there.
actually be a more productive way to do outreach at an event like that versus having somebody stand at the table.
I think so
People
too.
have to get those things
Because it
anyway.
is like a sea of people and there are tables
Yeah.
on both sides of the hallway.
Yeah. Or
I
we could
know
do both. Yeah.
I know it's a busy time of year, Sarah, but maybe some kind of winter outreach about the holidays, like, come do a winter craft, make an ornament, or I don't know, something seasonal, and talk about different ways of coping during the holidays, because I know it's very stressful. I know it's hard to get people's attention too, but maybe if it has something, fun to do and communal and maybe something that, gets you out of the house and with, your peers or other people your age. And it could be kids too. It's a very stressful time for kids.
So I just wrote myself a note to crash some of the recreation, senior center, and library activities.
Yeah.
We try as much as possible to be mindful of not, well, sometimes we fail at this because sometimes we're doing recreational activities too, like the things that we're doing at Colonial Gardens could be seen in that light. But perhaps supporting their activities by promoting them, but also attending them just to give a quick blurb to people.
Yeah, or doing something, co-sponsoring something together, crafting for holiday health
Right.
and happiness.
Yeah.
Look, we can talk to friends, the group too, Sarah, if we wanted to do like, cocoa and a craft or something like that.
Yeah,
And I'm sure the friends group would support you in that too.
that's great.
I'm part of the Algonquin School Council. I'm the community representative this year, and I could talk to Sean Bevan and see if they would be willing to like put it, I don't know, out there to the clubs and stuff like that to see if they would be interested in like sharing it with the students in some way or like putting it in a newsletter or I don't even know what, but I could ask him, if he'd be open to that. I don't know how if he would be, but I could ask.
Sure. Yeah, one other thought I just had was, doing an info session presentation while doing a craft with
Yeah.
Coco.
I think that's a great
That
idea.
could be, we're gonna have to add that to the menu. You can have an appointment with us. We can do a workshop for the public, professional development, a private party, or crafting and psychoeducation.
I like that.
Just
I
rolls
actually
off
think
the
that sounds
tongue.
fun.
Yeah, but that, I actually think that makes a lot of sense, especially if we, maybe I could modify a presentation specifically for this time of year when it's darker. Actually, that's something that especially after the holiday season becomes increasingly important. So
Yeah.
that would give me some time to work on it. Great ideas, guys.
Well, if we don't have anything else, and I already jumped through the Friends update, does someone want to move to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn at 7:51 p.m.
I'll second that.
Okay, we'll take a roll call vote. Karen England,
Hi.
Sarah Micus,
Aye.
Lauren Ritchie,
Aye.
Susan Byer,
Aye.
Melissa Shields,
I
Nancy Sutton, aye.
Nice to see everybody. Take
Bye,
Sarah.
care.
everybody.
Sarah,
see.
do you have 2 seconds, Sarah Castle? Because that board meeting's coming up on Monday that I was going to talk to you about. to
Can
get
I
donation.
actually, off of this meeting, I'm happy to give you a quick call. Does that work okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Talk
See
to you soon.
people at town meeting, maybe.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.